Hi, everybody, and welcome to GenFriends. I'm your host, Cheri Hudson Passey from Carolina Girl Genealogy. And here we are, day 7 of relative race. I've got this wonderful panel. We're going to talk about our thoughts and our feelings about all the things that happen. We've got Laura Hedgecock from Treasure Chest of Memories. Hey, Laura.
Hi
So
there.
good. It's good to have you join us. We've got
Thank
Jenny
you.
Hwran, who's here from Like Herding Cats. I love saying that. I love the name.
Hi, everyone.
So good to have, because isn't finding our relatives much like that? Oh, yes, it is. Our ancestors. And of course, our archive lady is with us. Melissa Barker is here. We missed her last week because she was off doing her archive stuff.
Yes.
So,
Hi, everybody.
so good to have y'all here. So we go into day 7. I keep wanting to say day 8 because we're done with day 7, into day 8. We're thinking ahead, but we go into day 7 with 2 teams having strikes, which is very scary because we don't want anybody to go home. We have a challenge benefit, which really wasn't a benefit. It was only a benefit to the team that won it. The other teams, it was a penalty for them. And so we didn't know what that was. And it was just called challenging. And that's all that we knew. So that's how we started day 7 on season 12 of Relative Race, as Dan would say.
Relative race.
Oh, good. Look, that was good. That was really, really good. um, I really thought it was sweet. Again, Team Red is praying for everybody, but the other teams are sending Giselle messages because she had found, she was finding out all this devastating news. And on day 6, she had discovered that her mother had passed away, and she went to that cemetery, and it was so sad. I just thought about that and thought about that and thought about it over the whole week, how sad that was, and how hard it must be to process something like that so quickly and then have to get up the next day and continue in the race where your mind is still back there where you found out that information. But I am grateful for her cousin. Her cousin was wonderful through this, and Arminta, and how she sang her through it and encouraged her through it. But that the teams were so good to her too, with the video calls. So they're just I just love how bonded they are, and just I think the teams are bonded each season, but I think they're just showing us more of it maybe
I
this
agree.
yeah, because as we've had them on the show, we can tell that they're bonded. Even the seasons where it looks like there might be a little, something going on. It's just the way they've edited it. They do truly get along with each other, and you can see that when they come on the show. So I think they're just showing more of it because that's what the viewers want to see. We don't want to see the other stuff.
Yeah, it's so uplifting to see them supporting each other. You
Yeah,
just start just rooting for them all, when they're rooting for each other. So
And
exactly.
it's interesting to me that, it's Giselle. It's interesting because I think maybe as genealogists, we can maybe, even if we're not adopted, we can even maybe relate a little bit to this. This is her mother, someone she's never met, never knew, but she's been dreaming and thinking of her forever.
Yes.
So, I mean, and I don't, it's not the same. I'm not saying that it is, but some of us have ancestors that are just as close maybe to us because we've researched them so thoroughly. They had
Yes.
lives that we really got so interested in that I think that, we're affected by it too. And so
Right.
it's amazing to even, like I said, someone we'd never have even met, which we all have ancestors we haven't met. And,
Exactly.
and it affects us when we find, let's say, a piece of information about them that's devastating or,
Yes.
we get emotional about that stuff.
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
and I would say, just my own DNA discovery
Yeah.
journey. It's hard to put into words that you mourn for someone you never met before, because
Mm.
it's you have an idea in your head, or you have that connection through a family tree, whatever it is, and it's a real thing to mourn someone that is your family, but you've never met and never will, unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. that was just heartbreaking. And
Mhm.
I'm so glad. I'm just so glad that they were there for each other um, as they started on day 7, that they were supporting and loving, and the prayer that she always gives. And I wrote it down too, where she said, God can still find you even in obscurity. I
I
loved
wrote
that.
that down too.
Did you? Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wrote that down too.
It's a true statement. And she's I love that she's not afraid to pray for the teams and pray for all of them. And I love that Relative Race is the kind of show that it's recorded, but they don't edit it out, because a lot of shows would have just edited that right out because I don't want that on there,
Mhm.
So I love that they show that, and it just shows their personality and their love. And so I just thought that was really great. They all seem to do not so bad trying to get to the challenge. Can anybody think of anybody that was really having a hard time getting to the challenge? Can't remember anybody.
No,
That
and
was-
I wrote down some of the distances. It looked like everyone had short distances. I
Yeah.
wrote
Yeah.
blue went 2 hours and 3 minutes. I didn't get blacks. Red was just an hour, and green was an hour and 45 minutes. So nobody had too long of a trek.
Mhm.
No, and it seems to be that way on this season, that nobody's really going that far. And maybe they're finding that it's better for the teams not to be so exhausted, because they still are going to be exhausted. Even with those little drives, there's still all the production that goes on. There's still the talking and staying up late with their relatives once they find them and all that kind of thing. But maybe they're not. I mean, I can't even imagine how hard some of those trips that they used to have seasons ago, where there's hours upon hours and they're driving. And is that safe to be in the car driving like that when you're exhausted? So I kind of like that, that it's shorter, even if they have to, like we've heard some behind the scenes, it's not that big of a secret anymore that some of those homes are not the actual relatives' homes. Big shocker. That's fine. It doesn't matter if they're their homes or not. It
This is
doesn't
not
matter.
HGTV. We don't really care.
Oh, yeah, I could care less.
Although this one, and maybe we'll mention it when we get to it, but one of the relatives did say, would you like to come into my house? He even made mention that it was his house.
Yeah.
And one other relative that they met, they were in the family neighborhood.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So those
Absolutely.
two we know.
Those two we know.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think Team
So we'll
Green
get to
has been
that.
going. Yeah, I think they've been going into a lot of actual family homes, because they really haven't gone very far
No.
within this family compound, right? So let's talk about the challenge. So they get to the challenge, and it's called, let me see if I got it right, drop, pop, and roll. So they're in those. They're in those. I would love to do.
I'm not a physical person, and a lot of these challenges, I'm thinking to myself, there's no way that I would have fun doing.
Oh my
That
gosh,
was
so fun.
hilarious.
it was hilarious. But before they got started, they said, wait, because remember,
Yeah.
it was challenging. And so all the teams, except for Blue, had to do a different challenge ahead of time. And it was the one from season 10 where they had to stack the cubes, and the 4 sides couldn't share colors. And so they had to sit there and play with those little cubes until so that's what the challenging, that means that Team Blue actually had more time to do their challenge. But Melissa, you're right. The laughter was so much fun.
I was laughing with them.
Me too.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. After all the stress of the previous day, it's like it just took it all away. All that running and rolling and popping the balloons and all that was so much fun. And then they hit each other and fall down, and it looked like
And they were
much
so
fun.
protected that I think it gave them the freedom to really throw themselves into it, literally.
Yeah,
and so, because some of you could tell they really threw themselves into it.
Yes. And I think that there are some rec centers that will rent those balls. So if anybody wants to look into your local rec center and see if they've got those, that you can rent those hamster ball things, whatever they're officially, I don't know what they're officially called, but hamster ball things. They'll know what you're talking about.
Yes, they will.
Rent them and do it for a family reunion. So
yeah.
Except for don't do what Mitchell did.
Yes.
Yes. Anybody want to tell us about poor Mitchell?
Well, he hurt his knee, and he even explained it. He said that on the last balloon that they had to pop. Of course, it would take both of them to come together to pop it.
Mhm.
And he didn't realize that his knee protector had slid down, and when he hit the concrete, his knee hit the
Oh,
concrete. It just hurt me just thinking about it.
Ugh, I
I
know.
know.
And he
I
was
know
in
it
so
does.
much pain.
Yes, yes. And I was thinking some of them were on grass, so they may have had a little bit of a advantage being on grass because
Yeah.
sometimes grass pops balloons too. So they may have had that double.
And then
But
red team was on, it looked like a gym floor. It wasn't
Yeah.
concrete because we laughed. There was one where they ran at the balloon and the balloon skittered out.
I love that. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
But Marshall was in a lot of pain, and
Ugh.
you know, and so they ended up taking him to emergency care, and he was in so much pain. I thought, oh, he's broken something, but
that's what
he
I
didn't. And
thought.
I also know that they told him that he was bruised, that his bone was
Mhm.
bruised, which
Mhm.
that could actually be. I've never had
Worse
a broken
pain.
bone, but I've had bruised bones, and they are extremely painful.
Yes,
Well,
they
and you think
are.
of that kneecap, there's no padding.
Yeah.
It's
No.
just
No,
skin. There's
no.
nothing there.
With as much
Yeah.
pain as he was in, I just knew he had broken something.
Yeah, they put him in a brace. They did mention that they had stopped the clock, but we don't know when they stopped the clock.
Well,
We
they
don't
said
know.
stop the clock while in the hospital. I wrote that down.
I
Yeah.
did too. Like they didn't say as soon as you were injured or
Right.
On the way to the hospital or anything like that. So I don't know how much time. That'd be an interesting see if we can get an answer to that.
Yeah.
When did they
Yeah.
stop? When did they stop the time? And I thought, well, and it was terrible. But as I was watching, I thought, well, nobody's going home today.
Well, you
About
kind
the same.
of think of that. You can't help think of that because they don't have
Yeah.
any strikes. And so you think, well, okay, they'll take one for the team or for the group, and
Literally.
everybody's safe now. But
Yeah.
it's like
You
if they
don't
don't,
want, yeah, you don't
no.
want somebody to get hurt so that
Right. And I was
strikes.
just saying, oh, I hope he gets to still meet his relative or whoever's
Yeah.
relative. That was kind of in my thought as
And keep
well.
going and keep going in the
And be
race.
able to
Right.
keep going. And so, they put him in that brace. And so he said, I'm okay. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep
He's still in a lot of
persevering.
pain though.
But he's
He looked
probably
like
like
was.
he was like biting bullets like in an old
Yeah.
western. And he's like, we're not stopping.
I know.
Poor guy. So I think it's really gonna affect day 8, day 9, and if they get to day 10, depending on what kind of challenges they may have
Yeah.
on day 10, that might, I don't know. That's gonna be interesting to see how that all plays out. Let's talk about who they met. Who wants to go first? You want to pick a team and go first?
Sure. I'll
Well,
talk about red team.
Okay.
They met second cousins on her mother's side. She met Linda, a sweet
Yes.
lady. She is a lady I would love
Yes.
to meet myself. And
Yes.
and so that is her second cousin on her mother's side.
I think she said they did say second cousins, but I think they were really a first cousin and a cousin once removed. Am I right? Yeah,
That's the way
so,
she
yes.
described it. She said, I am your, that's the way she
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Melissa, you're right.
I was
That's
gonna say
absolutely
that.
how they said it. Yeah,
That's how they
that's
said it,
absolutely
but
how they
The more you
said it.
listen to it, you're
Yeah.
right. The more you're like, well, wait a
That's
minute.
not
Yeah.
that's not quite it. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
And I
I
really
just
think
thought I wanted to clarify that.
Linda is what Giselle needed the next day after what she
Yes.
experienced.
Yes, I
You know.
agree. I agree. The first thing she said to her was, "Do you sing?"
Yes.
And
even
she
when
says,
even when her other relative was singing to her at her mother's grave, I kept thinking to
Ah.
myself, Giselle is music. It's all about music. And so, but this also made me think about my husband's family, because my husband's family has very deep musical roots in his family. Going back as far as I can trace up to my husband. My husband is a very good singer. He's talented and musician and everything. His father was. This is on his father's side of the family and his mother's side of the family, both sides of the family. And I have none of that in my family. And you compare, and I'm like, I have traced my ancestry, and there is nothing musical in my family whatsoever. So it has to be in your DNA. I mean, when is all this DNA going to be able to tell you have a musical gene?
Yeah. Yeah. That would be cool, right? Yeah, that would be
Mm.
cool if he could tell you that. That'd be really cool. Yeah, so I agree with you. She was the perfect person for her to meet the next day after what she had just been through.
Yes.
And she told her, she said, I'm the icing on the cake. That was so
Yeah.
sweet.
She was so
She was
sweet.
sweet.
She
She was
was-
so sweet.
And the icing on
funny.
the cake. And before she left, I want to say her name or Mintra. What was it? Amintra? The cousin
Aminta.
before she
Yeah,
Aminta.
a
Menta.
mantra.
Okay, Amintra. Sorry, Amintra. I love how she said, I want you to get to know your new family, and we want to get to know the family you were raised with, and we'll just be a bigger family. And I just thought that was wonderful, because so many times you do wonder, and we have seen it happen. Some people act like on previous seasons, okay, you're ours now, forget the rest of that family, you're now ours. And you're like,
Right.
that's
Mhm.
not gonna work that way.
Well, she
But
saw a photo of her uncles and I think of one
Yes.
great uncle.
yeah, yeah. Didn't you like the way she was describing them?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so cute. It wasn't just their
The
names, but
philosopher.
yeah. And the
Yeah.
other one was, I can't remember what the other one was, but yeah, she was naming them with their kind of
Mhm.
characteristics or what they did.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cute. So I think that was just something that just buoyed her up
Yes.
for day 7, that she could find something loving and warm and welcoming, and try to move past enough to continue with the race. So, and not do, I mean, that's something that's going to take a long time to process about
yeah.
her mother passing away, but at least it wasn't more sad news.
Right.
At least it was, something positive. So I was really, really happy, really happy for them. So, and who would like to talk about the next team? Anybody? Whichever one you want.
I want to do black. I want to do two black.
I didn't do black because I was saving it for last.
I
Go
know.
ahead.
Should we save it for last?
No, go ahead.
That is,
It was
it's
good.
all right.
It was
It was
just so good. So they went to Oshkosh, Wisconsin,
Bagosh?
and Oshkosh, Bagosh. And Patrick met his dad, his biological father, and it was just so, I mean, that was one part I was just like sobbing, because
Yeah.
the dad was just standing there, and they got to the door, and it said, "Come around to the back."
Yeah.
And Kelly was already crying at that
Oh,
point.
yeah. Yeah.
She was sobbing already. And they got around and they saw him standing there.
No
His name was
No doubt who
Mark.
it was.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, he had this huge Cheshire grin, grin on his face. And Pat's like, "Oh, I'm Pat." And, it was like, and he goes, "I'm your dad." "Well, do you think?" "Yeah, you look just like me."
Really?
And it was so great. And just really warmed my heart. And the dad saying, Mark saying that, he didn't know about
Yeah.
Pat. And he'd always wanted a son, and he has daughters, and that he loves, of course, but he just, always wanted a son. And so it was just so great to see that. And of course, Callie was crying.
Did you catch that his dad said that he found out 4 months previous?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he had to wait 4 months. And I think he said either a family member or a friend said, "Well, I had to wait 9 months for mine."
Yeah.
I like
So
that.
it's just, yeah. And it was just, yeah, I really loved that, for him, and how Callie is so supportive, and she's so in it with him,
Yes.
just like she's going through it with him. I love that. I love that so much. And so that was I don't think I left anything out, did I? I don't know.
The other thing
Well,
I
they,
loved
they
about
had a big
Oh, go
conversation
ahead.
about the similarities, genetics,
Mhm.
and this is again going back to what we talked about, the music thing. Genetics plays such a huge part in our lives and who we are. That
Right.
a lot of it we don't know about, especially if you're adopted, and then you start finding these family members, and so their mannerisms and things,
Yeah.
are so
Yeah.
similar.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting. That's kind of stuff.
It is interesting. I also like the way that he talked about his tattoos. He said, "I've got my
Oh
daughters
yes,
and my
yes.
and my grandchildren tattooed, so now I need to add
He's all about adding the tattoos, the names.
Yeah.
To
He
add
has
Andy's name, or
kids
not
on his
Andy's, but
arms and grandkids on his
Yes.
chest.
Yeah, yeah. I thought that was great. He was all ready to add those tattoos, so I thought that was great. Another thing that I really liked was how Kelly was talking about their dad that raised them, and how he had passed away, but she felt that he was there helping to support and facilitate these meetings, and I thought that was beautiful. I thought that was really beautiful
we've
that
had other times when they've talked a lot about their adoptive parents.
Yeah.
And so it was nice to hear her talk about it. She said the hug she got from the father, felt like she was getting hugged by her dad.
Her dad. Yeah. By her dad. Yeah. So I thought that was really beautiful. So Laura, who do you want to talk about? My dear?
Well, I want to talk about blue, but we should cover green.
Well, whichever one you want to do. We got both, so
okay. I just what is the book about having a horrible, awful, very bad day?
Oh, yeah.
Now that's what Mitchell had. And they got to Indy after the hospital, and a lady came out and she said she was his sister-in-law.
Yeah.
Which you could see that he was like,
my brain was
my
going,
knee,
what?
or does this make no sense? But and then she said, and this is your niece and this is your nephew, and she introduced her children. And so he's like, okay. They walked in and he said, so where is my brother now? And she's like,
he was so wait a minute before you go there. He was so excited about meeting a brother.
Yeah.
Right.
And he knew he had the sisters.
Yeah. And then of course, and forgive me, but I was sitting there thinking to myself, oh, please don't say he's in prison. Please don't say he's in prison.
I figured he was gonna come down the stairs or something like that. It never crossed my mind. Go ahead,
never
Laura.
crossed my mind
Yeah,
either,
because
she was so young.
Woman. She's a young woman. So I thought too, well, are we going to wait a day to meet him? I mean, this is like, why are we going anyway? But she said, oh, he's passed away. And
so hard.
He just kind of broke down, and nobody can blame him. He was just like, it was just a momentary high, and then
boom.
It was really nice as he sat there and he talked to them. And Corsica, the sister-in-law, she has a very sweet voice and very calm. But he was talking about how strong they were and how smart the kids were. And they did give him a taste of what his brother was like.
Yes.
Of the family he had put together, and the children and things, but they didn't say what he passed away of.
They did show pictures.
And he looked just like him.
Yeah.
But so it was very bittersweet. The more he talked to the kids and the more he talked to them, I think he wanted that connection still, but it's so bit. It's again, the whole, he didn't even know he had a brother, but yet as soon as you have a brother, you care about him.
Exactly. Yes.
And then so it felt like to him it had just been ripped away.
Right. Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
I feel like he's going to be there for those kids.
Yeah.
I think he'll try to be a dad that they don't have anymore.
Yeah, that would be great. Absolutely. Yeah, I felt so bad for him. I mean, and we've seen this happen season after season. I mean, Realtor Race cannot guarantee that everybody is still going to be around, that everybody is still going to want to meet people. That's just the chance you take when you go on the show looking for your family. And so,
well, and to be honest, it's the chance you take anytime you take a DNA test.
Exactly.
You don't know what you're going to find out.
Yep, exactly.
Well, the nephew was 13 and the niece was 15, and they said that the father had died 9 years. So think how young they were when the father died.
Yeah.
And the nephew's son was the opposite of his father's. Like his father's first and middle, his middle and
yes.
I wrote down Lavendon Deshaun Jordan. I think that, and then she swapped it around for that, which I thought was pretty cool.
Good for you. What good notes. Good job,
I
Melissa.
know, right?
Called pause.
That's
right.
Recording.
Archived lady for the win.
That's right.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Well, then we have Team Green, who just.
I just want to say this about Team Green.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
All of Team Green's relatives all live in the boonies.
Yes, they do.
Because when they go to travel, it's like they keep going out further and further. And I'm like, you poor people.
Well, and that's why they have this family commune, that they can
Yes.
go to. But how fun. Not only did he get to go and see where people from his cousins lived, but he got to see where his father
The house, yeah.
hung out. But they were showing the pictures. And so they
I
would
love
show the
that.
house and then the
Yes.
picture of his dad at that house and the picture of his dad getting ready to jump off the bridge like they used to do. And
Like, thank God that it's now frowned upon, like it was ever
Oh,
really
yeah.
in favor at the
I know, right?
but they lived out in the boonies, as
Yeah,
Melissa was
right.
saying. So when you live out in the boonies, you can do what you want.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody out there goes stop you from jumping off that bridge. But oh goodness, I hope he gets to meet his dad. I really hope he gets to meet his dad. So
I do too.
and remember he's ill, and so hopefully that will.
Oh, I'd forgotten about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully he does. But I just love that because you see people recreating old photos. And so there's almost like they were recreating those old photos for him, to show him your dad used to hang out at this house and here he is on the doorstep. And your dad used to do this and here he is in this field. And here's your dad doing this and here's your dad doing that. So I thought that was wonderful. And we have, as genealogists, walked in the places where our ancestors have walked. And it's a wonderful feeling. You get that connection of being where they were, and that's what he was getting. He was where his dad had been when he was a kid and where he grew up.
And you as a genealogist, those of you that are watching and listening, if you've never done that before, I would encourage you to do that. Go to those places where your ancestors lived, went to school, went to church. Any of the records that you have that list a place where they've been, go there. You really can't understand what it feels like until you do it.
Yeah. There's nothing like it. Go ahead, Laura.
Right.
I was gonna say I wrote a blog post called The Power of Going Back. It was just because it's just it's like you can't quite put your finger on why it's important.
And Laura will send me the link and I will have that in our blog post. Okay. That would be fun for people to read. So we'll put that in there. So yeah, there's just something about, and sometimes you say, well, I can't get there. Well, then try to Google Earth it and try to walk around because you can do it virtually if you can't get to the place. I know I've gone places and I thought these trees are so old. These trees were here when my ancestors were here. They saw this river, they saw this, whatever it might be, kind of get a sense of what things were like. So I thought that was really, really, really exciting for Andy as he got to see all that. So and so then of course we're anxious about the results. I mean, we kind of have a feeling going into it that Team Blue is probably going to get the strike because what happened in their time must have really been really bad because even though they said they cut the time, all the time of, oh, I'm hurt. Yeah. What are we going to do? I don't know when. So I don't know when they would cut the time. So
I don't know when from the time he got hurt till he got to the hospital, maybe that time they were trying to get him. Because I imagine they didn't, he was in a lot of pain. He wasn't getting into that van for very fast.
No. And they said,
I mean, we just don't really know, but I kind of figured, well, nobody's going home today. So let's talk about the results. And before the results, when they were telling everybody about who they saw and everything, I thought it was sweet. Even Dan says, I love this show because he gets real emotional and he knows. And he was talking to Team Blue and he said, I know who you all are going to meet. And I want you to be able to get there and meet them. So he said he was he was thinking and praying about them too, hoping that they would be able to continue on because he knows what's next for them.
Right.
But he said officially, he said, I have to ask you. Are
yeah,
you going to go on? Can you go on?
right.
And he was like, yes. Like Laura said, he was biting that bullet and I'm going to keep going.
I don't know who I am right now because the pain's so bad, but I'm going
Yes.
on. So
Can't say my name, but I will say
I don't know
absolutely.
who I am or who you are, but all I know is my knee hurts. So yeah, so I'm glad that it wasn't an injury bad enough that they had to pull out. So I'm really happy about that. So as we talk about results, the great thing about Team Green coming in first is that the next day, day 8, would be their anniversary. Is that so cool? I thought that was so cool. And then we had Team Black.
Speaking of that, we forgot. Callie celebrated her 40th birthday.
That was the day before. Yeah.
We have to remember I wasn't here last week, so I kind of
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
So we're having an anniversary. We're having a birthday celebrated. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And Kelly had the best birthday because she got to meet all those cousins, you know, that she thought her meetings were over when she met what's his name, Doug, I think. Doug. Yeah, she thought that was it. That was all that she was going to meet. And so what a great birthday that was for her. And then here we go for Team Green. What a great anniversary they're going to have the next day, because Melissa, why don't you tell us what they chose? They chose the mystery prize.
They chose the mystery prize. And I just, because last time that there was a mystery prize chosen, it was immunity, full immunity, no strings attached. Yep. This time it's immunity, except there's a string attached.
Yes.
It's immunity, but you can still get a strike.
Yep.
Someone will get a strike.
Someone will get a strike.
You have an immunity.
Right.
Yeah.
But your immunity means that someone else
will get a strike. Right. Yeah. So we know somebody's going to get a strike on day 8. So hopefully it'll play out that it'll be somebody that it won't send anybody home. That's what I'm hoping.
Okay. So help me with the math.
Mm-hmm.
So we have
Team Black and Green both have 2 strikes.
And Team Blue and Team Red each have 1.
Right. So we know that Team Green can't get a 3rd strike because they've got immunity. So we just pray that Team Black does really, really, really well. Not that we want any of the other teams to get a strike, but we need Team Black to avoid that strike on day 8 so that they all go to day 9. And so we all see, I know they give out the golden ticket sometimes, and it's a little different. We get to see the relative, but they're not in the race part and all that. So if Team Black doesn't get the strike on day 8, we get to see the legit going on to day 9. Everybody's trying to race and all that. So that would be really great.
So you can make it all the way to day 9 and get your 3rd strike and not make it to the finale.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So that'll be interesting.
How many teams have we had? How can I put this? How many teams have we had in the finale? We've had 3, haven't we?
3. We've had 3.
Yeah. All 4 have not made it to
2 and 3, but I don't think there's ever been a season where all 4. I may be wrong, but I can't remember all 4 ever being in the finale. So, but there have been 3 a few times. It's usually just 2, but there have been 3 several times. So I'm hoping that they all get to day 9. Nobody has to have a golden ticket. So that we see, because they're not in the race anymore when they're doing the golden ticket. We get to see who they get to, who their ancestor, their relative is. But it's a little
really old relatives.
It's just a little different because they're not running the race anymore, So
remind me, I was thinking about this. Remind me, who in the teams still has a living parent that they could possibly meet?
Team Green. Andy's
Green.
And I don't know about Mitchell. I don't remember. Seems like maybe he does. But I'm not.
I don't remember.
Team Red. What's it with her father?
I think she's just looking for maternal, but I'm not sure if that's correct or not. So, but I think as far as the hints of meeting, but we
Team
don't
Black's
know.
mother. I mean, his mother.
Maybe,
Because I know that
maybe.
Callie's,
Yeah, she's,
yeah.
yeah. But maybe there'll be somebody fun for Callie. Yeah, still.
But you
Okay,
know, I'm still holding out for that because, you know, some of these are some relatives from the side that have said that they're not going to. From
This is true. Yeah. And so they did find some people.
so
okay.
And really it's, go ahead, Laura.
So back on day 4, here's what my scribbles say.
Okay.
So Mitchell met Jessica, who is his mother's sister,
Yes.
and he said his mom is still alive.
Okay. So maybe a mom then.
His mom wants to meet Mitchell.
Okay.
Mom did what she thought was best. And
Okay.
when she heard that Mitchell was like looking, she started screaming, "My baby."
Oh,
I think
yeah.
I think we're gonna meet his mom then because he's
Yeah.
because they've got
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they'll make it
Yeah.
to day 10
But what
as long
about
as his knee
Tranisha?
holds out.
She's still looking for people too. And so who knows who she's still looking for as well. So
Mm.
there may still be somebody for her as well. So
So did we
yeah.
go through all the official, like, so first Team Green, but did we go through everybody else?
No, you want to do that? You want to
Yeah,
do that? Go ahead.
No, yeah. So Team Green came in first. Team Black came in second.
And
Team
they
Red
were
came in-
shocked.
Yeah. Team Red came in third, and Team Blue did get a strike.
Yeah.
They came in fourth,
Yeah.
which we
Yeah.
kind of knew was
Which we-
happening. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on to day 8, and the season's going to be over before we know it. It's just,
It's going
but
so
we always say
fast.
that they go by so fast.
Oh,
But we
so
always say
fast.
that. We always say that. So, yeah. So here's hoping that day 8, you know, the numbers finagle themselves so that nobody goes home, and so all the teams are still there on day 9 running the race. Laura, were you going to say something? Oh, it looked like you were going to say something. So anyway, yeah. So anybody watching that can answer any of our questions that we were having, whether you are as big of a fan of relative race as we are and know all the answers to everything, let us know. As we've talked about, you know, did they have this before? Did this happen before? Let us know. And if you could let us know about that timing question, you know, without giving anything
Yeah.
away, you know, for Team Blue, other than they stopped the time when he was in the hospital. That's the only thing we know, but we want to know more. Perhaps when we get the show reunion, you know, we get everybody on, we'll be able to answer that question, and they'll be able to answer for us. So on to day 8, do you think we covered everything for day 7? Is there anything else that y'all wanted to talk about that maybe we missed?
Covered it all.
Nope, I think we did.
Okay. All righty. Thank you. Thanks for being on, everybody. Thank you for watching. We love your comments. We love to get those thumbs up and those subscriptions. So please do that for us. And we will see you next time for day 8 of Relative Race. Thanks, everybody. See you
Bye.
then. Bye-bye.
Bye.